The Camino today, there is not one Camino, there is not one way to go to Santiago. What is important is to walk 100 kilometers into Santiago or cycle 200 kilometers to show that that will be validated as a pilgrimage at the pilgrim office in Santiago. And whether you're guided or self-guided, you walk freely. You know, it's not as if you're doing a city tour where you stick to the guide all the time. It's your Camino. We just want you to enjoy what to expect from your travel, connect with nature, maybe. Yeah, being out 4, 5, 6 hours a day. Good morning, good evening, all of you. I'm delighted to be here and to present to you. And we're going to talk about what is the Camino. I usually like to talk about the history because walking the Camino is making yourself part of history in a way. We're going to talk about the most popular routes, what to expect from us, and some logistical things. So I'm going to start with a short video just to give you some images and flavors, all right?
Every road has a traveler. Every journey has a beginning, a middle, an end. And every adventure offers revelation. Join the discovery. One path, one road, one Camino. Infinite experiences. Buen Camino.
Cool. So that's to give you an idea of the type of pictures and landscape you will see. But now to start on the history of the Camino, what is important is the Camino de Santiago means the way of St. James. Camino means the way. And Santiago in Spanish means Saint James. Saint James, son of Zebedee, was one of the apostles, and he was preaching Christianity. He was one of the disciples, and he went up or down to Galicia in the northwest of Spain. He wasn't very successful actually doing so. When he came back to Jerusalem, he was killed, beheaded by King Herod. And his followers then put him on a stone boat and made him sail out of the Mediterranean Sea. So that's part of the story. His remains, they kind of reached the northwest of Spain in Padron, and about 820 AD, his remains were found in the hills of Galicia by a monk called Pelayo. And from there, they started the story because the remains of an apostle were found, a saint. The first pilgrimage was done from the king of Asturias in year 1000, which is around Oviedo, so it's about 250 kilometers north of Santiago. The little pictures on the right-hand side are from the Codex Calixtinus, which is the first guidebook ever written, guys, before The Lonely Planet and so on, which was written by a French monk, and that described was to be called afterwards the French Way. Although the French Way was 99% in Spain, it was called the French Way because it was written by a French monk. So just to tell you that great part of history, Santiago or St. James, his remains were found in 800 and the first pilgrimage in the year 1000 or so. And then the church basically gave a plenary indulgence to all Christians who would go and pay tribute to St. James in Santiago. So that means that Christians at the time, I'll show you a map after, but the Muslims were in control of all of Spain and even up to the middle of France. And so Santiago is also known as El Matamor. Mata in Spanish, I'm sure we have a couple of Spanish speakers around, means the killer, and Moros, the Moor, the killer of Moors. Why? Because Christians, to get their plenary indulgence and to pay tribute to the church in St. James, would have to chase Moors south, basically. Just to show you that in maps, is to show you that the green area, for example, is controlled by the Moors, and the king of Asturias in that little pinky reddish place, that's before the remains were found. And by year 1080, you can see that already that top northwest third of Spain had been reconquested by Christians, and then eventually the Moors were chased out of the Spanish peninsula. So St. James has a massive importance in history for the Christian world, but the whole of Europe. The Camino today, there is not one Camino, there is not one way to go to Santiago. Santiago is this little spot there in the northwest of Spain. There are different ways. The Portuguese people wouldn't go back to France and come back south, you know? So there are different routes, there are different pilgrimage routes. But today, the main routes would be those on the map there with the French way, which would be the yellow route here. It's the most popular. Of over 50% of the pilgrims follow that route, followed by the Portuguese way, 22%, the Portuguese way of the coast. So these three routes already, it's 80% of the Camino. So I'm trying to say that to you because there is a number of routes, but really three routes would focus most of the traffic of the pilgrimages. And these would be the routes that we ourselves promote most. When you do a pilgrimage, and I will touch base on that later on, what is important is to walk 100 kilometers into Santiago or cycle 200 kilometers to show that that will be validated as a pilgrimage at the pilgrim office in Santiago. So if you want to do these 100 kilometers stages, you need to start 100 kilometers away or thereabout. So here I've just done a little circle to show you where you start to get to reach Santiago within a week. 100 kilometers, 110 kilometers is usually a week, 5 working days, 6 working days. On the French way, we start in Sarria, for example. On the Portuguese way, Portuguese Coastal Way from Oil. And that's basically pilgrims that have completed their pilgrimage and gotten their pilgrim certificates. I'm not sure if you guys are thinking about walking or cycling, but a couple of things. First of all, when you are embarking on a trip like this and a pilgrimage, quantity is not necessarily quality. What I mean is, unless you like cycling, and you are a keen cyclist and know how to repair a puncture, I wouldn't recommend 5 or 6 days on a bike tour. If you go this weekend for 5 hours on the bicycles, you will see that it's not that enjoyable. So, however, if you're a cyclist, it's great, you will see more. So if you're like most people who would walk the Camino, walking is very good. You might cover less distance, I suppose, within that week, or however time you give to the Camino, it could be 2 weeks, but you will enjoy it more. Cycling is less sociable. You know, it's hard to talk to people on that boardwalk, for example. Walking is much easier. And some of the tradition on the Camino is you have your pilgrim passport, which we provide as part of the holiday pack, and you get that stamped every day. You can get it stamped several times a day. Where do you get it stamped? You get it stamped in your accommodation, in bars, cafes along the way. And so it almost becomes a game in the end, and people try to have as many stamps as possible. This will be required once you reach the pilgrim office in Santiago to make sure that you've covered 100 kilometers into Santiago. There is no time frame to cover the 100 kilometers. However, it's just you have accommodation every 10, 20 kilometers. So it usually takes a week for 100 kilometers. So I'm going to talk about the full French way, just to give you an idea of landscape. Just mind that I'm going quickly, and here I'm going to describe 770 kilometers of route. I just want you to have pictures, images, okay? The French way starts in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, but on the first day, you're crossing the Pyrenees. First day is quite challenging with over 1,000 meters altitude gain, so it's tough on the legs, doable, but a bit of practice helps. Then you will go into Pamplona, Logroño, Burgos. From Saint-Jean to Pamplona, Logroño, it's hilly. Then Burgos to León, it's very flat, and then gets back hillier and mountainy around Ponferrada, and then hilly around Sarria. And these would be the type of landscapes that you will come across. So this is Puente de Arena, and in Spanish speaker, it's the Bridge of the Queen, which is something that was created for a specific queen that passed by there. It's quite beautiful. On the French way, when you're walking 35 days, now most of the trip we said, guys, would be 1 week long, so don't worry. But when you are going for 30, 35 days type of walk, some of the time you will come to this type of landscape. Mind that it's not because it's flat that it's easy. What I mean by that is here, for example, this is more the Plateau de la Meseta. It's quite flat, but there is no shade. So, you know, if you're walking 10 days in a row in that type of landscape, you start going elsewhere, you know, or you start chatting people. And you can see, I don't know if you can see, but there's a cyclist there pushing the bike. Even though it's relatively flat, you still have hills here and there. If you're in more mountain area, this would be the roughest terrain you would get at any stage. So it's not mountaineering, it's hill walking with well signposted tracks and dirt tracks with loose stones sometimes. Some of the things you will see along the way, there is La Fontana de Irache, which is a wine fountain, which is around Logroño. Logroño, guys, is the wine center of Spain, La Rioja wine, and one of their winery give access to wine. Don't get too excited. Usually you get there by 10 a.m., so I'm not sure you'll get too much, but there is also water, okay? Just so you know. It's symbolical. Then just to give you an idea of signposting, the Camino is well signposted. It is quite natural. You're trying to go from A to B to C in the most natural and direct way. So usually it's in a straight enough line, but sometimes cities would be more challenging to navigate just because you're like, how do I get into the city center or how do I get out of the town? But you've got plenty of yellow arrows along the way to help you. These are just backpacks that you can see. When you're traveling with us, we will transfer your luggage from A to B to C. That's included in the price. During the day, you don't have to have all of these bags and bottles of water and also who knows what balancing behind you. Usually have just a 5-10 liters backpack or a bum bag, your passport, your camera, your phone. This is a symbol you saw, guys. This is in a mountainy area in the Leon Mountains. It's called Cruz de Ferro, the Iron Cross, where people come and drop their bad memories or their worries. And you see, that has become quite a hill. Depending on that, you have a stone. You don't have to bring it from home if you want, yes, unless it's very big. And this is a place that you can see along the way that shows you how far you are from various places. Ponferrada, which is lovely. So you are in medieval Spain. Now, this was the full French way. I just wanted to give you an idea of the symbolical, the iconical full French way that people have in mind. If you're coming for a 1-week trip, which are great, you can come on one of our guided tours. We call these Make Friends for Life because our groups are with 14 people maximum. As you can guess, as you walk with people daily and you have dinner with them, breakfast, you get to know each other. It's good fun. Just to give you an idea of the difference between guided tour and self-guided tour, basically all of our tours, we will provide you with walking notes, maps, vouchers with the map of each accommodation so that when you arrive in the city, you know where it is. And with the track, how are you compared to the actual trail? There is also a mobile app, iOS and Android, so you don't get lost. All of these things are provided. The guided tour, the advantage of the self-guided tour is that you can go on a Tuesday, you can go on a Wednesday, you can go whenever you want. It's more flexible. Whereas on our guided tour, we tend to have them departing on Saturdays and Sundays, just because it's easier to funnel people. And you have a tour guide with you. So you still have the same thing, but the tour guide will be there too. I call them more coordinators or coaches, whereby you're okay to walk. And the Camino, even self-guided, is safe to walk alone. These are main routes that are well traveled. There's no risk. And if you are a bit more anxious because of the language issue or you don't know, maybe joining a guided tour is not a bad idea because you will get to know people. And so, as I said, the Camino is done. We can do it in groups in one of our guided tours, or you can do it alone in a self-guided tour, I suppose. You just book it as a self-guided tour. We organize the same thing, accommodation, everything, but one has a guide and one doesn't. And also we have female-only date, so that's great as well. If you want to join one of these, just go on 57 hours and look for it and you will find it easily. And on the female tour, we will have a female guide as well. The female guide will be Sylvia. She's the lady in the middle. So that's Sylvia with the group. I was with another group myself, but I caught them in Pontevedra. That's the morning. Usually in the evening, people are a bit more spread out because everybody walk at their own pace. And whether you're guided or self-guided, you walk freely. It's not as if we're doing a city tour where you stick to the guide all the time. Once we know you're safe, if you need more assistance from the guide, just let him or her know. But you will see that after 1 or 2 days, you'll find your own pace and say, look, Sylvia, don't worry, I'm a bit slower, but I'll get there. For us, we're not here to force you to go at a specific pace. It's your Camino. We just want you to enjoy it. So we gauge people. We say, look, some people, they go there in 3-4 hours. They're at their accommodation, sipping wine and so on. That's fine. That's their Camino. Some people are slower and take a lot of pictures or chit chat, and that's their Camino too. And there is no right or wrong. It's your Camino and will help you go through that. That's another one of our guide, Francisco, which guides a lot of our guided tours too. These guys are brilliant. They've been doing this for years. Now, just to show you the terrain on a Sarria to Santiago route, don't let being afraid by the mountains. They are not mountains. It's just that we are shrinking 115 kilometers in a small space. On the last 100 kilometers of the French way from Sarria to Santiago, you can see that you're going from Sarria, you have 200-300 meters ascent, and then you go down to Portomarin. Portomarin is a city at the bottom of a valley, and then the next day you have to come back out of this. So you have an hour and a half of climb, same thing, 400 meters ascent. And then it's hilly down all the way to Santiago. So some people might ask, is it easy? Is it difficult? Is it flat? It's not flat, it's hilly, but it's not difficult. You've got hills of 50 meters, 100 meters here, 30 meters there. So it's doable. I've walked with up to 76 myself, 76 years old people, no problem. And this is the terrain on the Sarria to Santiago route. So again, you cannot really get lost. It's quite farmlands and so on. So you know where you're going more or less, as well as the signage. And these sections are quite popular, so they're well traveled. It's unlikely that you will travel without seeing somebody. This is arriving into a Palas de Rey, so things are busy at the start of days and get busier as you enter villages. So it's like a caterpillar type of thing. On the safety, you're never too far from a road. This is the Church of Portomarin, which was rebuilt. They've built a dam upstream and they've rebuilt it stone by stone. So there would be some of the symbolical things you see. This is a corn granary. Locals would store corn for their livestock. And these are some things that you see along the way. Don't ask me what they are. They are just people leaving some of their symbols, whatever they are, prayers, you name it. It's their trip. Here we are arrived into Santiago, and these are two statues once you have the first look at the cathedral. So this is just to show you that it's well signposted. You've got a milestone. Sometimes they give you the distance to Santiago, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it's rained, but everybody's on the same boat, all right? And about difficulty, same thing, you have hills like this. So if you're cycling, to respond to the question, yes, you can cycle it. Sometimes you might have to push your bike, don't know, depends on your level of biking. But everybody gets there, you know. These are some of the cafes. The lady with the cap, Jenny, she's one of our guides, and you know, you have a coffee. So in the morning, you say, yeah, we're going to stop at this cafe there and this cafe there. You have a snack. You have water. This is La Queimada. Take pictures. You can even find beer and Guinness on the Camino. A lot of the walk in rural Spain as well is on tarmac road, like the one we saw. And you'll see, like, you have the crack, as we say in Ireland, you know. And this is arriving to Santiago. Arriving to Plaza do Obradoiro, which is the main square. So this picture, it's a great picture. It was done a couple of years ago. They were still cleaning the cathedral. Now it's all clean. And you can see on the square, I like to stay for 20 minutes, half an hour, you know, and same thing. You do what you want, guys. You know, you have the vouchers. It's your trip. Some people like to go to the hotel and come back after. I like just to wind down. You walked 100 kilometers, 700 kilometers to that place. You might as well just sit back and relax. Talking about other routes that we do, either guided or self-guided, we have the Portuguese Coastal Way. The Sarria to Santiago started east to west, and now we're going south to north along the coast. No difficulty. Same thing, you can see the big peak there. It's 200 meters ascent, which is nothing. So same thing, you're in rural Spain. This is Oya with the Church of Santa Maria. Lovely stuff. The bridge behind there, we are in a bridge where the troops of Napoleon were pushed away. This is the second stop on the Portuguese Coastal Way in Bayona. Cool town. And the hotel is just behind the beach there. It's really, really nice. That's the departure boardwalk. On the Portuguese Coastal Way, you are walking sometimes along the beach. The first 2 days, you will have some beach, and then you will be merging with the traditional Portuguese way. I just love these sites, to be honest, guys. It's lovely. You'll be walking on cycling lane, or sometimes on tracks or alongside roads, and a tiny bit on the beach. And then the rest, once you reach the traditional Portuguese way, it's more sheltered, it's lush. Sometimes you might even stop in some of these little bars. This is a guy who has opened a bar in his front garden. So you can tell we stop there, have a drink, have some fun. And this is the arrival in Palas de Rey. So I had a group of 15 people, 5 or 6 of us had arrived. So we ordered the first drink and we were waiting for the rest of the group to arrive on that bridge. So it was pretty cool, a good 2 hours spent. And then once I had the rest of the group, I brought them behind in that town, Caldas de Rey. There is a hot water spring, which is an ancient lavatory. But it's nice to spend as well 20 minutes, half an hour there. If you were to ask me which is my favorite Camino, I really, really like the Portuguese Coastal Way. Just like the fresh air. 2 days, this is arriving to Vigo. You have a magnificent beach there. Same thing, you can have your swimsuit and a towel and have a bit of a swim before you get to your hotel. Same thing, you're in rural places, but you've got signposting, little arrows here and there. It's really fresh, really rural, these old stones. So for you guys, wherever you're from, it's nice to see a bit of culture. Now, it's not Le Louvre, so do not expect to have art craft every 2 meters. It's not that. You're walking in rural areas in Spain. It's lovely. A lot of granite. They have a lot of granite there, and this is still charged, you know.
Yes, I am falling, and he keeps calling me back again.
Okay. So that was just to give you a flavor of the Portuguese Coastal Way, all right? This is Praça do Dobradorio, 2 o'clock, so you've got bikes, you've got pilgrims lying down, sitting down, talking, shouting, groups of students singing. It's very lively. You've got the train tour as well. It's a really lively place. In Santiago, our hotel would be 10, 15 minutes walk from the cathedral, just because the cathedral is so big, like it's a whole complex. You've got the main pedestrian street on the right-hand side of the cathedral, but, you know, you go around, and what we like to do is, you know, on the first day you arrive, maybe you don't go there right away and go back after your shower. The entrance would be on the side. There is mass every evening at 7 o'clock, and there is mass as well. We have that on our blog. So if you need more information, we can get you information there. There is English speaking mass in one of the altars at some stage. And this is mass when there is the Botafumeiro. Now there is mass every day. The Botafumeiro is not swung across the cathedral every day. It's more of a holy thing. And do not ask when it's being swung. The cathedral doesn't give that information, for the simple reason that if you're going to mass, it's not to witness that. It's because you need to go to mass. It is the biggest incense thing in the world. It's 80 kilos heavy, and it's swung by 8 gentlemen. So if there are some of you who are part of schools or church groups and so on, we can arrange the Botafumeiro to be swung, okay? It can be done. There's a cost to that. Also, if you're coming from a specific reason, we can get in touch with the cathedral. We've done it in the past, maybe to be brought at the front and so on. Now, I'm not talking about upgrades, guys. I'm talking about serious stuff or community stuff. It's a church. It's not just a tourist attractions. So we're happy to help. It's quite impressive. If you're going to the mass and you want to sit down, I recommend you to go there 1 hour in advance. And I'm serious, guys. It's very busy. I'll show you that there is over 400,000 people that reach Santiago this year. Like, it's massive, massive. So there is that. And what I recommend as well is sometimes don't waste your time and energy filming it. Just appreciate it, okay? You have better videos online. Just live the moment. One of the traditions once you reach Santiago is to give a hug to San James. So San James statue is right in the main altar, and there is a queue to go behind past, and you give a hug. The box with the remains of San James, but that's behind that. What to expect from your travel? Connect with nature, maybe. Yeah, being out 4, 5, 6 hours a day. What I said to people is try to practice before, because walking is easy. But if you've never walked 5 hours, you know, you would be tired no matter who you are. It's more of a mental game to know, yeah, I'm okay, than anything else. So do practice, and I'll show you some training program. Make friends for life. So it's cool. I'm in touch with some of these people on the picture still and so on. So eat local food as well. Galicia, this part of Spain, is very much into seafood. As part of our guided tours, we also have one vegetarian evening. Not that we force you to eat vegetarian, we say, look, let's have vegetarian meal today, just to raise awareness about we can eat vegetarian and survive. If you want to have meat, just tell your guide, and that's no problem at all. But we just want to raise awareness. And other foods, this is just to show you as well some snacks, chocolate and a piece of Madeira cake, or sometimes a bit of a cured meat and bread or cheese. Accommodation. So we book 2 to 3 star accommodations throughout. And if we go for 2 stars, most of the time it's because there is no 3 star available. So we try to have a good standard, because when you're walking, you don't have access to all of the accommodation you can get. So there are some limitations, and it's both hotels and guest houses. Sometimes we would prefer to go, like, for example, Casa de Acivro. It's a lovely guest house. Doesn't have 3 star, but it's brilliant. So why not go there, you know? This is a training program that we provide as part of the thing, but the gist I created that, guys, is get out, okay? Go and walk. Maybe if you prepare 4 months before, try to go for a walk 1 hour a week, just so that you get to walk for 1 hour, maybe 2 hours after that. Try to go at the weekend and try to increase the difficulty. And what I said to people is maybe just get off the bus when you're commuting 2 or 3 stops before home, so that you have this time to walk home. Try to have something compelling for you to walk. Go and get your bread or your milk walking. It might take you 2 hours, but you'll have to clock in that walk or that cycle. What to pack as well. So we have this little tick box thing. So we organize the luggage transfer on either cycling or walking. And it's to give you an idea, it's indicative. You can bring more, can bring less. We limit the weight at 15 kilos maximum per person, and it's one piece of luggage per person. You can buy more if you want, that's no problem, but just remember that you have to unpack, pack every day. I'm not sure you want to have much more than that. And now I'm just going to play you a little video of our guides and have their perspective.
What is this uniqueness how would you describe it to people who've never done the Camino?
It's I guess it's the walking, all the walking that you do, the nature, our culture here in Spain, how our groups, how we get together and you make friends for a lifetime. Sometimes, normally you go back home after walking the Camino with new friends that are gonna be there for you forever. I've seen that. It's not, it doesn't happen all the time, but I've seen that a lot. And even for us as a guide, we sometimes become very good friends with some of our clients in the groups. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like that before anywhere else.
Very good. Yourself, Silvia, would you say that the Camino for people will bring this friendship amongst people in the group?
Yeah, I think making an effort together always joins us. It's a good bondage, and I think that's actually the big part of it, because it is a mystery to me why people will fly from Australia or other areas of the world to walk the Camino and come back and come back. And I think, I'm not sure, it's one of the mysteries about the Camino, but I think the people, the other pilgrims, the experience of going through it together, doing it with joy, doing it laughing, doing it with freedom, and that's what creates a good bondage. The other pilgrims that come from all over the world, the energy that we create by walking this thing, that could be it. No, I'm not even sure what makes this Camino magic. It is magic.
You are all different. Some people might want to do more, want to do less or whatever, and we'll find the right tours for you, whether it's walking, cycling, self-guided, guided. Don't worry about the variety. We'll get the best route for you, hotel selection, luggage transfer, holiday packs as well, and support. We also have a 24/7, whether you're guided, self-guided, things that happen. I don't know, your luggage is late. Call us, we ring the taxi, they tell us where it is, or if your flight has been delayed and we need to let the accommodation know, these type of things. Carbon emission of each trip is being compensated or offset. And that's it. We have amazing experience. I've started that in 2006. It's been quite a while now. We work with a good few guides. Silvia is from the French where she's from Melide. Fran is from Ponferrada. Like, we know these guys. We WhatsApp each other, etc. We've got a team that will help you support once you've made the booking, etc. And it's in a safe environment. You've started your journey, so don't be afraid. Just engage with the guys, 57 hours, book a call, ask the question. There's no silly question. And then we'll find you the right trip and you will enjoy it. So we're looking forward to have you on the Camino.